All right, so hi, welcome to Beyond Barnard's Connecting Yourself to Jobs and Industries workshop. This is the final workshop in our career exploration series, which is part of the summer colloquium for 2020. I'm Lindsay, one of the associate directors at Beyond Barnard on the advising and programs team. And this workshop will build on some of the strategies from the previous sessions in this series that will help you create a personal career exploration plan. We'll go over ways to connect what you've learned about yourself to potential career paths and provide some actionable steps for gaining deeper insight into these career possibilities. So before we get started, I again want to plug the Beyond Barnard Summer Colloquium. If you're here, you know what it's all about. If this is your first session or your first series, you can look at this website here to see more about what we're doing, all the programs we have going on now and the next few weeks. And you can RSVP for whichever ones interest you on Handshake. I also want to plug Beyond Barnard's new career exploration toolkit. This resource page has some exploration related questions and activities and information that you can work through on your own. You'll be added to this page later with either the uni that you use or if you're an alum with the email address that you provide on the sign-in sheet. So please sign in so that you can get added to this great resource. It's brand new, it's growing, it's dynamic. So what's on there today, likely in a few weeks, is going to be updated. So it's really exciting. So you should definitely check it out once you get added. All right, so in this workshop, we will talk about ways to organize some of the information you've gathered through your self-assessment. Then I'll walk you through how to conduct career path research by demonstrating how some of these key sites can work together to help you narrow down from what skills you want to use to actually what people you want to talk to. After that, we'll go into informational interviews, which is what you would talk to these new people about their careers. And then we'll talk about briefly hands-on experience and then ways to personalize this process for yourself. Then at the very end, there will be time for questions. But first, I'm going to proceed as if you've done some level of career exploration, whether through your previous workshops or just some thinking that you've done on your own and all of this free time that we've all had. If you haven't done this yet, this next part may seem a little tricky because it's going to be talk about what to do with that information, but stick around so that you can see what you're building towards. So you've self-assessed, now what? Self-assessment is one of the major components of career exploration. As was said at the beginning of this series, self-knowledge is just as important as knowing what careers are out there, because it allows you to explore a wide range of possibilities for your future. But before you can do that, you have to organize the information you've uncovered into categories that you can use. So the 4 buckets of information that you need are skills, interests, preferences, and values. Skills are perhaps the most important piece of career exploration puzzle because they are connected to what you will actually do on the job. When thinking about your skills, prioritize the ones that you're both good at and enjoy using. These are called your motivating skills, the ones that keep you engaged in whatever tasks you have to accomplish. The opposite of this is a burnout skill, which is something that you're good at but don't enjoy doing. While it's impossible or nearly impossible to have a career that consists of all motivating skills and no burnout skills, it's important to understand these triggers so that you know what types of pathways to look for and which ones to avoid. Interests help you figure out areas that you could potentially use your skills. Since there are many different places that require similar skill sets, following interests can help you narrow down the areas that you want that will keep you engaged in the work that you're doing. For example, almost all industries appreciate strong writing skills, but writing articles for, say, a wedding website is different than writing copy for an advertising agency, and both of these are different from writing social media posts for an investment firm. All are writing jobs, but if you know which pathway interests you or which area interests you the most, then you're more likely to make the right decision that you'll be satisfied with. Simply put, preferences are things that you like and dislike. So it can be simple as coffee or tea, ketchup or mustard, or if you're like me, barbecue sauce. Do you like close supervision or hands-off leadership? Or do you like an open office workplace or something that's more of a closed concept? In career exploration, understanding your preferences will help you differentiate between opportunities that are similar on the surface, but may not provide you with the right conditions to do your best work. While some may seem petty or minor, a full consideration of these factors is necessary to find the best place for you. Considering career values as a final, deeper layer of insight to your exploration process. Skills, interests, and preferences provide you with information on the more tangible aspects of your potential career, the what, where, and how of things, while values add more of a why factor. Why do you do what you do? Why do you want to do it, where you want to do it, and how do you want to do it, and how you want to do it. Career values are the reason your career will look how it will look. Things like organizational prestige, salary level commensurate with the work effort, the company organization's commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion, and just general autonomy are all examples of career values. Knowing yours will help guide you toward a position that will maximize your intrinsic career satisfaction. In the Career Exploration Toolkit, there's a great exercise on career values that asks you to rank them and write stories about the ones that you value and why. So be sure to check that out once you're added to the site to get more insight into this part. Skills, interests, preferences, and values are the compass for your career exploration. Follow these and you'll always go in the right direction until you don't, because you always remember that these things can and will change once you have more professional experience and definitely more life experience. By keeping an open mind and allowing yourself to learn from the life that you're living, you can incorporate these exploratory practices into any career development plan. So in the next 90 seconds, I want you to identify one skill, one interest, one value, and one preference that you want to explore in a potential career. Even if you haven't done any self-assessment thus far, just go with your gut. Pick some out of the sky. You're not being graded. This is really for you. And once you have these down, whatever time is remaining, reflect on why these are the ones you chose. And when the time is up, I will change the slide so we can get started now. It's always good to write this down if you want to reflect on it later. About 30 seconds left. So in this next section, we'll go over some strategies for researching careers, and I will demonstrate a few useful websites and show how they work together. Now that you've identified your career exploration compass, it's time to apply this knowledge to what is out there. The key to this is to be as holistic as possible. At the outset, you should look for spaces of fit instead of researching specific job titles. This way, you can keep your options open for the multitude of places that may require and desire your particular intersection of skills, interests, preferences, and values. So you can start this process by doing a keyword search of a specific skill on a career research website. Starting with skills will give you a broad base from which you can then narrow down your criteria. This process doesn't make much sense if I just describe it. So I'm going to show you how to do it on the website called ONET. Let me get that screen. All right, let's put this up. So you should be looking at ONET online. If you're not, put in the chat that you're not, and I'll figure out what I did wrong. So this website is a comprehensive career research database. It's put together by the Department of Labor and updated on a very regular basis. So for this activity, when you're focusing on skills, you can just think of one that you want to use and then put it in this occupation search box. So I'll stick with what I was using before with writing. It's very broad. And so what you get is a quick search of occupations for writing. The ones that use it the most, ones where that is the top task, will come up first, but this is 1 through 20 out of 331. So clearly writing is an in-demand skill set. And so what we do then is say, okay, from these, what type of writing? So we can look at poets, lyricists, and creative writers to see what that would look like. And then from here, you get a summary of pretty much anything you may want to know from this job. So you'll see in the menu box here, tasks, tech skills, tools, knowledge, all of these things are survey people who identify as this type of work, and then get down what they say that they do and distill it to this website. That's kind of how the research process will work. So you can scroll and see, you know, what sorts of tasks during writing obviously is going to be one of the top ones. What sort of technology skills you may need, what other knowledge, the skill set, which is important because once you identify the skills that motivate you, you can see what other ones beside the one you searched for are available on this list and in this job. Also different abilities, so how good you are at that skill, how good you are at other things. Work activities, detailed work. And so really as you scroll through and kind of dig deep into whichever job title you click on, you'll be able to think about your interests and preferences and values and see if they come across in these two. So if you prefer, say, if one of your career values is autonomy, then freedom to make decisions is something that you're really going to like about this work. However, if you prefer a leader or a management style from a supervisor that is pretty much like they tell you what to do and then you do it, this part of the job may not be as useful. Job zones, that's technical speak for just kind of like the back end, so like what it takes to get into it. Education, different credentials. If you took a strong interest inventory ever, then an interest code, this may look familiar. That's another part of another career assessment that you can do that kind of puts your work personality together. So this maps very well to that assessment. And so it's something that if you want to take it, then you can make an appointment with Jan Barnard. But so basically all of this tells you at a high level and then digs a lot deeper into what goes into the specific job title. And then as you're reading it, if you're like, I like part of it, but not all of it, there's certain things I like, certain things I don't, then it gives you ones that are most related to it. So these sorts of adjacent careers that you may find more satisfying for different things. So let's look at copywriting, for instance. And so again, all of the pages look the same, have the same template, but they're going to give you different types of the different specificities for each job, and that'll help you really make a decision on what sorts of pathways you want to move forward with. So there's actually a link to ONET you see the website here, onetonline.org, but there's also linked in the toolkit. So now I go back to slides. All right, and so once you have a job that you want to look at, from this broad research, you can narrow it down and look at active postings on sites like Indeed. So the purpose of this activity isn't to find jobs that you're going to apply to right now, but it's really to use these active job postings as research. So you can see kind of the micro level of what these positions look like and see what employers are looking for in real time. So I will do the same thing and show Indeed. So you should now be looking at Indeed. And so if you've never looked at this site, it is really, it's a job search engine as opposed to a job posting site. So employers don't actively post here like they do on, say, Handshake or Idealist or other sites. This one is the website scrapes the internet for these specific postings. And so going again with the same theme, the last job we looked at on ONET was copywriter. So we can just see, it suggested a search for copywriter. And so on on Indeed, it'll be able to show you some active postings. It can be a continuous scroll. So there are also like filters you can put in for remote, spaces, how like the distance, salary, job type, any other skills you want to use. And so from here, you can just look at job postings and see what folks are looking for. So if we're looking at copywriter, and of course, so that is the organization page, but then it'll show you the jobs and it'll show you what they're actively looking for. So responsibilities will tell you exactly what the job, what they would want you to do, but then focusing on experience and qualifications. You can see here what types of experience they're looking for. And so as you explore, you can say, okay, this may not be a position for right now, but it could be something to build towards. And so specific types of industry experience, you're looking for specific tools to use, specific softwares. Sometimes we'll have knowledge categories. And so it's really great to gather up a bunch of job descriptions for positions that you may be interested in doing and just compare kind of what everyone's looking for. And once you start to see patterns in both what you're interested in and what employers are demanding right now, you can then reflect on your skill set and reflect on what you're good at and what you want to be good at, and use this as a guide if this is a goal job for you. And so once you kind of settle on a job title and a pathway that you'd want to pursue, you can start to research people. So once you've got these, you can use websites like LinkedIn or Barnard Connect, which is our Barnard-specific LinkedIn type platform that's used for mentoring. And then you can identify people who are in these roles. And so then once you find a person or set of people you're interested in, you can reach out and do what's called an informational interview. And that's the whole next section. But before we do that, I just want to show you where on LinkedIn to find the concentration of Barnard alums and how to use that filter, because that is really going to make this process a lot easier. So you should be looking at the Barnard page. And so to find this from the home page, you can just search Barnard College. This is what it'll comes up as. If you click on alumni, then you can get this list of folks, list of Barnard alums, people with Barnard in their profile somewhere in the education section, both from the past and then up till right now. And so if you specifically want alums, you can change the end year. You can change location. In this moment of most people being virtual, location isn't as important because everyone's sitting in front of a computer anyway. But say like, okay, of these 21,166 alums, who is doing, we'll stick with copywriting. So do copywriter. And it's good to put it in as, it may look as a job title as opposed to the skill, because these things can come up differently in different ways. And so If you're not finding people with a specific job title, then get creative with it and you can kind of see where folks are. So as you'll see, that narrowed it down to 176. So from this 176, you can then either look at where they're located, where they're working. That's a good one. Where they're located, and then start to see, okay, who a bio English major, senior copywriter, can click on a person. I wouldn't click connect just yet, but click on them, go to their profile, and just really see what they're about, see what experiences that they've had. And because this will give you fodder for reaching out to them and seeing if their career path is something that you'd like to learn more about. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's like, oh, they've just got into this job a week ago and that's not going to be a good fit for me. Other times, if they have a lot of experience in the field, it could be someone who you can speak to and who also then may be able to snowball that into you connecting with someone else. So that is the alumni filter, which is really helpful for LinkedIn. Barnard Connect is essentially an alumni filter, and you can search using similar tactics as you would on here. So let me All right, and so as you just saw, these websites work together in a bit of a funnel. You'll be able to start with the career site like ONET to find the big picture categories and look at the big picture skills you may want to use, and then funnel that down on there with job titles, looking then at a site like Indeed or another job board that you may find like idealist.org, which is the go-to for nonprofit and social sector positions. But any of these sites can be used to really funnel you down into the specific job titles that you may find most satisfaction with, and then use that to find the people who you can talk to make sure that these are positions and career paths worth exploring. So now that you know where to find people, we're going to dig a little bit deeper into how to connect and also gather the information. So what are informational interviews? Informational interviews are networking conversations where you talk to people whose jobs you're interested in about their career experiences. They're a great way to get more understanding of what things are really like in the field that you're researching. Informational interviews are driven by you. You should enter the meeting with a prepared list of questions, ideally in some logical order or in the order of importance to you, so that you can get the information you need to make sound career decisions. While it's true that people love to talk about themselves and sometimes one question can turn into a 20-minute monologue, you want to make sure that the information you're getting is going to be useful to you as opposed to just something that the person wants to say about themselves. So your questions should be a mix of topics surrounding career path, professional experiences, and industry resources. Career path questions help you understand how your interviewee got from Barnard to where they are right now. Through these questions, you learn more about what it will take for you to get to that same place. So examples of these types of questions can be, how did you get from Barnard to the present? Which is really on the nose, but really opens people up. Which of your previous jobs prepared you most or least for your current role? And asking if any sorts of Barnard activities influence their decision to pursue this path. Professional experience questions give you the chance to learn more about what things are really like in the field. This is where you can ask about how you can use your skills, entertain your interests, and work within your preferences and career values in that particular job. So examples of professional experience questions can be asking about key skills or competencies that make you successful in that work, what a surprising task was or what surprised them the most when they first started out in that role or in that field, or even describing a typical day or week in that role. Asking about industry resources is a must for any informational interview. So not only will these resources help you dig deeper on your own and learn some more information about the field, they're also a built-in way to strengthen the connection you have with the person you're speaking to. Because once you engage with that resource or once you see something interesting in one of those, that's gives you an in to follow up. It shows that you took their advice seriously. It makes it more likely for them to talk to other students, but also talk to you more, and then trust that they can connect you with people in their network because you are actually there and doing the work. So examples of kind of how to get industry resources are just asking straight up, what industry resources do you use to stay on top of your field or stay on top of trends in your field? What are some good journals, publications, or websites that can give me more information on what's going on now? And even asking about thought leaders, because you can follow those people on LinkedIn without connecting that to them, and you can get some information that way too. So for the next 90 seconds, we're going to crowdsource some potential informational interview questions. So brainstorm them on your own, and then you can add them into the chat. And we'll put them up in the toolkit, anonymized, obviously, so that other people can see them and really get some good ideas from what you shared. So I'm going to start that now, and then when you're ready, just chat away. And you can also chat them privately, and then again, they'll be anonymized later on. We've got about 15 more seconds. All right, so you can keep chatting them in there if they come, as they come to you. We're gonna move on. So in this next part, briefly, we'll go over securing field experience so that you can see what these things are like in real life. So if we're thinking about career exploration as steps, one of the last ones to gain is hands-on experience. So doing the work is a true test of whether or not a career path is going to be a good fit for you. Traditionally, jobs and internships have been the go-tos for this, but in this COVID moment, or very long moment, these options may not exist or be readily available. Volunteering, virtual job shadowing, and project-based opportunities are all ways that you can still dip your toe into the professional world without having to rely on some of the routes that may be inaccessible at this point. So they really have to get creative. To find these opportunities, you can use some of the same resources that you would for jobs and internships. Many job search sites have options to filter for volunteer work or contract work, remote opportunities already built in. In addition, you can incorporate this ask into a networking conversation with someone that you've already informationally interviewed with. Use the virtual environment to your advantage and see what options are available to lurk in the background of a typical day in these atypical times. So in this last section before the Q&A, we're going to talk a little bit about what the plan could look like for you. So as they say on Sesame Street, plan the play and then play the plan. So while your plan will be unique to your specific situation, it should incorporate all elements of what we've discussed in this series: self-assessment, skills, interests, preferences, and values, doing the research, doing informational interviews, and gaining experience, and then repeat. How much time and effort are spent in each part is up to you. The more you do it, the better you'll become at assessing where you are and what information you still need so that you can make an informed career decision. And if you get stuck on any part of this or feel like you're spinning your wheels, Beyond Barnard is here to help. So set up an appointment with an advisor to strategize on some next steps, new approaches, or just use this as a soundboard, because this is what we do and this is what we all enjoy doing. And so we're really here to help you figure out which of these parts you may need to do more of, what sorts of self-assessment activities maybe you haven't thought of, interesting ways to gain experience in this field or in this moment and in this time. If there are specific people we know that you can talk to for informational interviews, and maybe even some other research strategies beyond that system that I just showed you. So that is it for this part. Thank you all for coming, for sure. This was really fun for me. Just a reminder that you will be added to the toolkit later this afternoon with the information that you added to the sign-in sheet. So I will reshare the sign-in sheet in the chat box now in case you haven't signed in. If you're an alum and don't have a uni, then I will also add you manually as well. And if you have any questions right now, you can either put them in the chat or you can unmute yourself and ask them, and definitely here to help. All right, so it looks like we're not having any more questions. Thank you again also to everyone who put in questions in the chat. A lot came through privately. And so we'll clean those up and get those on the toolkit, and you'll hopefully see them by this afternoon. So thanks so much for coming. I'm going to stop recording, and you guys, I'm gonna end the meeting and have a good day.